You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. No, we're running right on into it. That's how we do it. Welcome to the jungle.
Great.
We've got the wifey for lifey.
Hi.
Some people are the wifetron. I think that's Kalfas and Ashley, right? Other people are... Hey, come here, girl.
Hey, you.
Hey, you, girl. Other people are like, what up, shawty? And then apparently we are the wifey for lifey. How you doing, babe?
I'm good. I'm doing some very important work right now.
Liz is ordering some things off the website, some food. Basically, she's ordering some food for us.
You made that sound very strange at first.
I know, that was really weird. So really quick, we're going to just do a quick podcast. This is a rant that I wanted to have, and rant, a.k.a. just some thought process, a.k.a. just an open mic therapy session, a.k.a. just our folks, ladies, just our thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, just my thoughts, as Mr. J would say. And so here's what I wanted to talk about for just a couple minutes. And I don't know if we're going to go very long. I say that, and then it always ends up being a 45-minute podcast. But we don't have the time for that, by the way, because first off, when food gets here, you're out. Number two, I got to go get some like Chipotle. And then three, I got to go film a video for YouTube. And life is never... What's that? You do YouTube. We try to do YouTube. I don't know. It's thank you so much for you guys that have still showed love and support and comment on the YouTube videos. Just to drop a like or a comment. That's where I say half of you guys have probably found us from. We have a large YouTube channel. If you guys are listening to the show, large is relative. I say that humbly. Large in the lawn care space, maybe, but in the grand scheme of YouTube, there's over 100. I think it's 125 channels a day that cross over 100,000 subs on YouTube. So when you look at like socialblade.com, which is the stats and ranking website for YouTube channels, and you can look up TikTok and Instagram and see people's engagement, who's buying subs, who's buying followers. It's very open. And so people try to think they're sneaky or smart or smug or cute. You can check out all these different things online, and you got the receipts. But any which way, we're still ranked like 450,000th in terms of size for a YouTube channel. So there's still 500,000 people that have a bigger YouTube channel than us, which is fine. I'm not trying to grill the Mr. Beast YouTube channel, but humbly put, I like our YouTube channel, and thank you to all of you guys that still watch and support. But that being said, wanted to talk about a topic. How did I get on? Oh, so this morning, I did a podcast episode or a YouTube video with a friend of mine named Alex. Great guy. We did a Christmas light podcast, I think, with him. It might have already dropped. And then we did a Christmas rig and lighting setup at his shop, which was really, really cool. A lot of people had some really good feedback on the YouTube video. So when we were talking, we're just catching up because I hadn't seen him in person for a year or two. But we had talked, I don't know, say once a month, once every 3 months at a minimum. But he has 3 kids, one on the way, or maybe it was 4 kids already. I think his 4th was maybe a month old. Maybe that's what it was. And I had said, in the video, I said, hey, jokingly, let's get you on, do some, a marriage podcast. And you can tell us all the secrets of having 4 kids under like 7 or 7 and under, keeping your marriage together and running a, $1 million plus business. He goes, dude, that's hilarious. He goes, I am still figuring that out every single day. He goes, our life is completely unbalanced. He goes, it's chaos. It's wild. We're trying to get better systems at the lawn and landscape company. Family life is just crazy. Kids are running around. The house is like, it's clean, but it's never clean. It's always chaos. And I said, interesting. I said, so I'm laughing. Ha ha ha. We're just catching up. And I don't know if we shot the video or we already are done. And we just, parted ways and went on with our day. So I get in the car and I start thinking to myself, I just mull over things. I try to think. And I have access to a lot of great information out there, just like you guys, right? From the other people that are the gurus of the world, and everybody's got their 2 cents, and everybody's got their opinion about how to approach a topic or conversation, especially when it comes to business, especially when it comes to kids. My God, especially when it comes to kids and raising kids and running a family. How to run your fitness life, your spiritual life. Everybody's got 2 cents, and that's fine. That's awesome. That's the best part about the decentralization of information that gets out there. Used to be like 3 TV channels and they controlled the airwaves, man. And then it was like a couple radio channels too, right? And they controlled the airwaves. Then the internet came out and everybody had an email and everybody could send out info. Fast forward, 2 decades later, everybody's got a podcast or could create a podcast pretty minimally. Everybody's got a YouTube channel or could create one tomorrow. You could start literally today creating a YouTube channel and start growing that pretty simply. You could have a Facebook group. You could, start influencing people that way. Moms of Christian moms, atheist moms. I bet you there's an atheist moms Facebook group and it probably has 13,000 members. Good for them, right? So the interesting thing is, I'm driving down the road and I'm thinking, man, it just stuck out to me. He's like, man, we're completely unbalanced. And not that that's good or bad, but it was just like, it was honest, right? It was just off the cuff, honest. Hey, dude, our life is not figured out. And so I get in the truck and I start thinking about that. I go, our life is not balanced. And so here's the whole topic of the podcast. It's having a balanced life versus an unbalanced life. And babe, you can chime in anytime you want, but I'm driving down the road and I got a 25-minute drive back to our house. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, our life is unbalanced too. Like, we don't have it figured out. Like, dude, it's chaos. It's hard to describe. You'd have to literally live with us to even get the breadth of what we're talking about.
It is interesting because we do know people in their life who, it's pretty balanced. They go to work every day, they come home, spend time with their kids, eat dinner together, and that's kind of it. Watch a show, and
it's simple.
It's simple, and it's easy to keep balanced. But that's not necessarily good. Like, you came home very fired up and you're like, who told me my life should be balanced? Like, you were like,
well, okay. So let me,
what in the heck?
So let me continue on the train of thought for just a quick second and then we'll just keep it light. But I was thinking to myself, I'm like, our life is completely unbalanced from how we create content to how we run our lawn and landscaping business to even when we're running the lawn and landscaping business, there's productive days and there's days you don't get to produce because it's raining or weather, right? Like, it's raining, it's a pouring out rain day. So even the work of a balanced business still has high production days and low revenue production days. There's some days we produce $300 in revenue and my goal is every day is $1,000 to $1,200. And there's some days we do $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a day in revenue. It's unbalanced. But somebody would say, well, your business isn't balanced, right? Like it's like everybody thinks. And I get this question all the time. How do you have a balanced life? How do you have a balanced business? I got that question at the FAQ for 2 years in a row at the end of LAL or live event. Open mic, all the speakers are on stage for 20, 30 minutes. And the last 2, if not 3 years in a row, there's always one guy that goes, hey, so I'm struggling with balancing my work and my family. And I'm like, okay, so you give them the honest answer. There's no such thing. Because I come from a thought process of a book called The One Thing. And there's a chapter on there talking about balance and counterbalance. And so a lot of you guys have heard this, but stick with me for a minute. Balance is very simple. Everything's really like easy. Like, you're a 5 at everything. You're a 5 at fitness. You're a 5 at your marriage. You're a 5 at your job. Everything's simple, like you said. And you might even be like decent producer at your job. And you make $100,000 a year. But you're not like overly accomplishing. $100,000 a year is a joke. Don't even get me started. Like, if you think that's real income, because the more you make, the more you realize how pathetic $60,000, $100,000, $200,000 a year really is in life. You are on food stamps, dude. Now, 5 years ago, I was like, man, if we could make $80,000, we would be the on the hog.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude! You make $100,000 and take 20 to 30% of that for taxes right off the rip. Go make $200,000 and they start taking another 20, 30% of like off the top, and you realize. Some of you guys listening, you're like, dude, you got that right. So I'm just realizing like this whole balance of counterbalance. People keep seeking out this elusive question of like, how do I have a balanced life? And so I'm thinking in the truck, Alex's life isn't balanced. Our life isn't balanced. I think of our friends, Kayla and Brittany Allman. God bless. Their life is not balanced.
They would tell you that.
They would tell you that. They're totally candid and totally honest, just like we try to be on every show. Their life is not balanced. They're crazy, dude. They're building a shop. They have their house. They have like 8 different projects going on at their house. They're like painting the walls. They're adding trim, reshingling their little porch. They added a porch. They're cutting the grass. They have the out shed, and they got chickens. They got a horse. And I love the Almonds with utmost respect because we're always like, how do you guys get so much done? Right? Because we're like, we have one kid, one on the way. We feel like we're drowning. They have 3 freaking kids, a horse, 28 chickens.
A hamster who got lost 3 times in 16 hours.
A hamster that gets lost more than people in the Bermuda Triangle. And it's just wild. But I'm thinking to myself, with all love and respect, of course, to the almonds, their life is unbalanced. And so then I start thinking, as I'm driving home for like 17 more minutes, every single person I know that's accomplishing has an unbalanced life. And then I play devil's advocate for myself, because it's not what you got to listen to what people are saying and then what they're not saying, what you're thinking about and then what they're not thinking about. When you have a good thought, you need to counter that thought. And it's a really interesting exercise and practice, because half of my good thoughts don't come from the things that I think are good. It comes from the distilling of what I just said and thinking the opposite and playing the worst case scenario, playing the opposite. It's just a trait that I picked up 10 years ago, hearing a guy say that in the Bible. You got to look at what the Bible says and what the Bible doesn't say. So a really interesting thought is, I'm like, all these people have unbalanced lives. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, what the hell is a balanced life? To me, a balanced life sounds really simple. It sounds really average.
And that's, you're talking, I think I just want to preface this. You're talking to this podcast is aimed at business owners, people who are trying to do big things in life. So if you're like,
big thinkers.
What, this simple life sounds good. I don't need to like make, $100,000 plus a year. Like, this isn't free. It's totally fine. He's not saying it's like bad or evil to live a simple life.
Or anything. Yeah. Nothing like that.
But if you we always look at the fruit on people's tree before assessing whether or not we'd want,
that life.
And anybody that we've looked at, they were like, oh yeah, I like what they've done with their life. I like their fruit on their tree. Troy Clogg, I like his fruit on his tree.
Yeah. Totally unbalanced. And people think that because you're unbalanced, it's unhealthy. And that's a correlation, not causation. Right? Like, people think that because you're unbalanced, do we have an unhealthy marriage? I don't think so.
No.
Do we have fights?
Sure.
Do we argue?
Sure.
Do we have high highs and low lows sometimes?
But okay, so if everything was just good though, you'd also be unbalanced.
It would be, and it would be boring as hell.
We have some people that are like, we never argue. And like, then you're not doing anything. Like, I don't know how you don't argue if you just have to have absolutely nothing happening in life.
Right, because when you're getting sharp, and sharpening and you're growing,
sparks fly.
So sparks that fly. So my attitude is, if there's no friction and there's no sparks that flying, that means that you're not doing anything. There's no friction, there's no change, there's no sharpening, there's no grinding, there's no building, there's no growing, there's no developing. And I'm not trying to prove a point to anybody listening. Like I said, this is an open mic therapy session for 20, 30 minutes here. But I'm driving down the road and I'm thinking, why are so many people, and again, if you've said this, no disrespect. I'm sure I've said it at one point, no disrespect. People are like, I'm searching for a balanced life, or how do you balance life? And I keep thinking to myself, who taught you that? Who told you that you should have a balanced life? Who told you? Or why do you? Or what is your definition of a balanced life? That's, I think, the big question I'm trying to ask therapeutically is, why are you seeking a balanced life? You and I have a completely unbalanced life. It is wildly fun.
It is so good.
It is wildly fun.
I know it's like kind of like against the grain to say like your life is good, but you guys, your life is so good. I am so thankful. Like, I'm saying this out of a place of thankfulness, but it is the wildest ride. Like, it is not easy. Like, just because we say your life is good doesn't mean that it's not like
it's super hard
or difficult or has, ebbs and flows of different seasons of, being a parent or being a spouse. Like, but it's so full. Like, that's the thing. When I think of simple, I don't think of fullness. Like, we live
the depth, the breadth,
depth, the why. everybody we heard somebody talk about, everybody gets about the same length in life if we're lucky, right? But it's like the width that matters, that you live within that line, the depth of that like dash that you have.
100%.
I'm not even doing it justice. We could go on a whole other topic about that, but it is so good. I wouldn't want to live balanced. Maybe that means I'm crazy, but it's so, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Why do people want to live a balanced life? That sounds so not fun, so remedial. Like, think of your best roller coaster rides. There's always a corkscrew.
This is okay. This is what happens with people who live a balanced life. You know what happens? Midlife crises, because they've never had adventure. Like, they've never had
no adventure, no excitement, no thrill. By the way, when you're dating your spouse, what do you guys do? You go on dates. And what are dates? Dates are adventures. And that's why it's fun, because it's something new. You try different restaurants. You go see movies that you would never see in your same repertoire. I like action movies. You like Twilight and all these other movies and whatever back in the day. I would never see those in 100 years. I go out to see them with you and I go, not an awful movie, right? Not an awful movie. Definitely not a good movie. Just so you guys know. I'm not going to go down the whole movie theater joke. I rented out the whole movie theater. One time we go to see Twilight Bad Moon or Blood Moon or whatever it was.
I don't even know.
And we walk in there, nobody in the whole theater. And I turn around and Liz goes, there's nobody here. I go, we were dating, and I said, that's because I rented out the whole movie theater. You're like, are you for real? Oh my God. We watched the whole movie. We get out. She goes, what do you think about that? I'm like, this is the worst movie ever. And you want to know what? I didn't rent out the movie theater. I said, nobody came to see this movie because it sucks so freaking bad. And that's how delusional you are.
The entire time I was there like, wow, this guy rented out this whole theater for me.
I totally hustled you, bro. I was like, you know why this movie theater's empty and I didn't have to rent it out? Imagine renting out the movie theater though for $1,500.
And that's the movie.
And so no, and then the attendant later goes, well, dude, nobody was going to come in here anyway. So imagine renting it out for being duped and them saying, we got a lot of demand. Normally we would rent this out for $1,500 because it's a nice premiere of a big movie. Part 2, it's going to be $2,800. All right, man, whatever. I got deep pockets. Let's roll. You guys like, what a loser. Totally suckered that guy. Hey, we'll give you free popcorn. I bet you will.
Lawns, landscaping, and outdoor awesomeness. That's what your business does best. Managing your vehicles and optimizing efficiency with the latest technology is what we do best. GPS Track It provides a 24/7 view of where your company vehicles are and how efficiently they're operating, saving you time and money. With more than 12,000 customers, GPS Track It has delivered peace of mind for lawn and landscaping companies for 20 years. Ready to protect your vehicles and save money? Talk with one of our fleet advisors. There's no pressure, no hassles. Call 833-385-0252 or visit gpstrackit.com/BrianLM to learn more. Those details are in the show notes. GPS Track It.
What is a balanced life? Why is everybody obsessed with finding that holy grail of like a work-life balance? When you're dating, it's adventurous. I was going to say, when you got to go to a roller coaster, that's the corkscrews, it's the dips, it's the like the saucer ones that you ride, that like you turn the middle,
like teacups or the apples,
the teacups and the apples. You spin that thing, and not only is the whole platform spinning, but then you can spin your original car. Why is that? That's the simplest ride. It's not $100 million roller coaster at Cedar Point. They can, put those things together on a flatbed trailer at the local state fair. But why is it always 80 people deep with the 1 ticket pass and not the 5 ticket pass for the roller coaster? Because it's a simple ride, but it's the flinging you around. It's the wild and crazy, unexpected. It's the getting pinned back in your seat. That's the fun part of a ride or a roller coaster or an adventure. And then somebody's going to come over and say, I'd like to have a balanced life. That's Snoopy. That's the Snoopy cars. You know who that's for? Toddlers. That's for toddlers, right? That's for kids that are 5 and under. They like safe. They like predictable. You guys are warriors. You guys are I don't know what the female version of a warrior is. Warriorette? Warrior. There you go. You're still a warrior. You guys are champions. You guys are warriors. And then I got people asking silly questions like, hey, how do you have balance? Like,
that's not a silly question, because it is difficult if you and this is coming from somebody who has a spouse. So if you're not on the same side with or not on the same page with your spouse, and she wants balance and you're like, let's have adventure, of course there's going to be strife.
Well, of course. But we both committed to the same chaos.
Yes.
We're both committed to we're on the same cart, on the same roller coaster of entrepreneurism, right? So at the same point, yeah, I agree. You got to make sure you're equally yoked. Mm-hmm. That's a good prerequisite to this whole conversation. But nonetheless, like the people that are searching for balance, I feel like that's another word for like safety or security. And it always goes back to the same conversation. You can't be free and secure. People are like, I want to be financially independent or economically secure. They're saying the same thing, but it's very, very different when you get into technicalities of what that actually means. And I've said this 100 times on podcasts before. The safest place on planet Earth is a maximum security prison cell. Do you have any freedom there? No. But what's the riskiest thing on planet Earth? Entrepreneurship, trying to seek financial independence. But where do you get the most freedom? Running your own business, having a great quality company and a great quality team that gives you financial independence, right? You're free. You can't have freedom and security. You can't have a balanced life and also a counterbalanced, uneven life, an unbalanced life. It just doesn't. How would you do that? Like we talked at Entrepreneur Academy about the 5 things that have helped us the most the last 5 years, and one was building a team. And I said, if you have 10 different people on your team, all working at 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and 5s, the average sum score is going to be 5. Mm-hmm. I said, but if you have a 10, a 10, a 10 with your bookkeeper, your ads person, your graphic designer, your ops guy, your production on your company, your CPA, your banker, whatever, and your team could be one person, it could be you, it could be 100 people. But if everybody's working at a 10, the cumulative score is going to be, well, the mean average is going to be 10. And I said, so to me, I'd rather have a completely unbalanced life with me being a 10 at one thing and being ones or twos or fours, at a lot of other things, and having the other people on my team, they're 10 at whatever their high paid income skill is, but maybe they're 4 and 5s, they're average. Like they have average health, they have they can't run, a 20-minute 5K like me, But you know what I'm saying? Like, look at Olympians and athletes. They're 10s at their sport, their craft, their high income skill, but the rest of their associating skills or relationships are pretty mediocre. Mm-hmm. They probably have an average marriage, but they're world class at pole vaulting or throwing the javelin. You know what I mean? To me, that's an unbalanced life. We know their name and they get millions of dollars and recognition and legacy and impact, but yet their life is completely unbalanced.
And that's not to say like you should stay that way forever. That's a season of their life. That is, while they're training for the Olympics, that is a season of their life. Again,
let's preface it with it's up to you. Because True. Kobe Bryant was unbalanced until the day, rest in peace, that his helicopter went down. Mm-hmm. But his wife, or I don't know, his whole relationship status, because I think he cheated on his wife and all that other mess, but I don't know if they were...
Maybe not the best example.
Maybe not the best. But okay, but nonetheless, that's a great example of being a potentially bad example in a couple other areas. So I'm not saying go off the deep end, be a 10 in business and be a 1 in your marriage, right? I'm saying you can probably be a 7, 8, 9, 10 in about 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 areas, right? You can be a 10, a 7, and a 7. And the rest of your stuff is going to be a 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Right. So for me, it's I want to be successful with making money. I want to have a successful marriage in no particular order. And then I also want to have a good spiritual like walk in life. Physical fitness has been a 3 or a 4 for me. Now I'm going to change that. I got some friends that I'm going to do an accountability group and probably try to work on that in 2023. But you know what I'm saying? There's only so much bandwidth in a day. So I don't know anybody who's a 10 at church, a 10 at finances, a 10 at this, a 10 with their relationship, a 10 at health. I've just not met that person. I'd love to meet the guy that's a 10 in all things. Maybe it's Grant Cardone 10X, but I just don't, you know what I'm saying though? Like I'm just talking out loud, therapy session. Mm-hmm. And so outside of that point, what's the alternative, right? Being a 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, a 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. That just doesn't sound appealing to me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound fun. And people are like, oh, I want a simple life or a balanced life. And they're not even saying average life. They just want a content life. Contentment and achieving are two totally different conversations. Mm-hmm. You can be a content multimillionaire. So don't give me that crap either. I'm content with 40 grand a year in a simple life. And I'm able to focus on my wife and still work at, church. That's fine. So do multimillionaires that have successful companies. Well, I don't need all that money. Well, you really should think about making more than what you need to live on, because life isn't all about you. So for anybody that wants to think small and have a small dream and have a small income, I'm not getting your grill, but I'm just saying, like, you're thinking selfishly, period, dude. You think I make 40, 50, 70 grand. I have a simple, balanced life. I don't need to go chaos to go help other people. I'm just telling you, like, you're just not thinking big enough. You do not understand yet, maybe, that your parents are going to need medicine. The church is going to need new playground. We had one of the HOAs that we have, and we're not heroes, but one of the HOAs that we do work in, the contract's up for renewal. Couldn't care less if it was up for renewal. I would have still did this. They reached out to me. They said, hey, total shot in the dark. We're trying to build our, what is it even called? Outdoor play structure?
Community park.
Yeah, they were going to build it pre-COVID. They got a quote for 18 grand. Post-COVID, it was $40,000. So 2 years later, the jungle gym that they promised at the local school for the little local park for this awesome Mac Daddy outdoor play structure thing, it had doubled in price. And the quote for the 40 grand, right? And also the build date to actually get this thing in the ground was coming due. Like they had to raise like 21 grand or 8 or whatever it was, 20 grand in like 30 days. Mm-hmm. And so one of the girls one of my customers who's on the board of the HOA, and also their kids go to this school that's raising the money. She goes, hey, total shot in the dark, but it's like the cookie fundraiser is due. You start asking everybody, right? In the beginning, you ask people with money. And then after that, you start asking anybody because you get desperate. So I'm like, ooh, these people are desperate. And so she's telling me this whole story, and she's like, hey, like, this is the whole story. Like, could you pitch in? Like $100 would be awesome. And by the way, if you want to talk to somebody, stop asking for minimums, right? Start asking for people's best. And if you ask for $50, you're going to get $50. If you ask for $5,000, you're going to get $5,000. If you ask for $1 million, you're going to get. If you ask for somebody for thought process, ask for the best thought process. Your life is predicated on the questions you ask the people, the right questions to the right people. This lady asked the right question, a wrong question to the right person, because I'm a giver. And she said, hey, like, total shot, and God bless her, of course. But like, she goes, well, hey, like, this is what's going on. And any chance you could donate like $20 or $50 or $100? I go, yeah, for sure. I said, I'll donate. I said, I think I said $100 or $250. I said, I'll give you $250. That sounds like a great deal. Now, of course, I'm trying to like, grease the wheels and try to renew this HOA contract. She's on the board, but I wasn't really tit for tat. I was just like, yeah, I'll give you $100, $250, whatever it was. And I go, wait a minute, what are you guys doing again? And she told me all the things I just told you guys. And she said that they needed $20,000 in 30 days. I said, you guys are drunk if you think you're going to raise $20,000
asking people
in
for
30
$20
days.
to $50.
If you're asking for 20s and 50s at a time, you need to start asking people for thousands, $5,000, $1,000, silver sponsor, gold sponsor. And I was just, I've done this. I've raised money for live events and other, YouTube crap. I'm like, you're asking the wrong numbers. And so anyway, I said, how much do you need again? She goes, $20,000. I go, I'll give you $1,000. I'll commit to $1,000. I said, if I wasn't building my house, I'd give you $5,000, which we would have. Mm-hmm. Actually, if we weren't building our house the same time in April, we would give $20,000. It wouldn't even be a question. And you wouldn't even question it either. You'd be like, you give how much? I said 20. You go, okay, cool. Because literally, folks, that's how little money means to us. Like, we're not doing this to like.
Well, we don't believe it's ours.
It's not ours. We're just stewarding it. And maybe I'm a conduit to help that, play structure of all weirdo things happen. And by the way, we're not also overcommitting to our finances either by building the house that we do. We're still gonna have so much margin that even if we built the house in the pole barn and we still wanted to give $20,000, we're still able to do that, right? Because that's why we're not building something that's 4 times the size, right? Like we want to make sure we always have that margin to be massive givers. Now that being said, that's just personal life goals for us. By the way, I'm not telling you guys what to do, but I am telling you, if you're trying to make $40,000 a year and you're content and happy and you want a balanced life of making $40,000, you will not bless those kids 500 or 5,000 or 50,000 kids that will go play on that play structure. And pick your thing. Maybe it's not a play structure, but maybe it's fixing your local river, where kids could fish, or donating to the YMCA, or buying that, $15,000 Econoline van for your church that wants it for small groups, or they go shuttle around and pick up all the kids to, preach the gospel to them, but the bus broke down and it's completely unreliable. And you're like, you know what? I'm really happy making $50,000. I don't need to make any more money because I'm set. But your church is over here saying there's hundreds of kids that would love to go to a Christian school on Sunday, or pick your faith or pick your thing. I don't care. God bless. But you're thinking so small that you can't go bless them with a new church bus or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why people I want to have a balanced life. And I'm thinking, you want to live a selfish life. I guess
I don't disagree.
I mean, can we just mic drop for a second and be real? And if you don't like this, turn off the podcast. Go find another podcast. I don't care if you listen to the podcast. Well, you have more people that, listen, you get better ad placement, so you get more ad dollars. We don't even ask. We don't even care. The ads we run, we don't even make enough money to really run this whole show. That's why I'm like, hey, if you guys want to support and you guys are part of the mission, go buy a training program at Entrepreneur Academy or go use Brian's 10 code. Those people are partnered with the mission. And the people that listen to the show, you guys get it. You guys are reciprocating to keep this mission going so we can get the message out that you can have a better life, especially in the green industry. We're not talking lawn and landscaping only. We're talking about entrepreneurship. There is a better way. Mm-hmm. You can run your own business and stop relying on other people and corporate America and all this other junk that's out there. So any which way, I was driving home. I'm like, what is a balanced life? What is a balanced life? What's an unbalanced life? Listen, I'm not saying it's just like people who want to rag on capitalism or America. They're like, yeah, there's some sins of America. And yeah, there's some sins of capitalism. I'm like, sure. But compared to the alternative of communism and Marxism, it's working out pretty damn well. So people are like, well, I don't want to have a balanced or an unbalanced life because of this, because of that, because you're at risk of a heart attack. You're at risk of a divorce. Or you're at risk of your kids maybe not liking you. Yeah, those are reals. I'm not going to deny that. Those are real potentials, right? But compared to having a mediocre life, one that you live in apathy, one that your kids don't love you, one where your kids don't respect you because you were living a shallow, selfish life, one where your wife, she doesn't leave you because she found an attractive man. She left you because she found somebody who notices her, loves her, acknowledges her, and takes her on adventures. You can't go on adventures when you're making $30,000 a year living a selfish, shallow life, right? Like my wife's not, you stick with me for dozens of reasons, I'm sure. There's a couple things I got to, fix. There's no doubt about that. But we live a crazy, adventurous life. And you want to have a beauty to rescue, an adventure to live, and a common mission and purpose together as a couple, right? Guys want to have the girl, an adventure, and they want to slay dragons. Women want to be a part of that adventure, have excitement, and they want to be loved on, right? There's a good book. I can't even believe I can't think of the title right now.
The one that references that?
Yeah.
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart. If you guys want to do yourself a great service in life, any guy listening to this show, there's a great book way back. I had read probably 3 or 4 years before I met you. Mm-hmm. I would not be together with you. I wouldn't know what to do, quote unquote, do with you if you showed up. And I did not know how women thought or how, to a degree. Wild at Heart, an amazing book, changed my life. There's a 1920.
Ladies version of it is called Captivating, and we've both read each other, both.
We both read both versions. We both read both. It's funny how things always go back to those couple points and just the basics of life. And so any which way, I thought about Grug, and he's like, I'm unbalanced. And he's like apologizing, or he's like shameful, or feels selfish.
It is hard when people ask you that question, because you don't the societally right answer is to say, yeah, you should balance things. And that's not to say we talk a lot about counterbalance too. We run hard. Mm-hmm. We do a million things. Like we talked about in the last podcast, it's 6 weeks between Expo and LAL, and then Thanksgiving are crazy.
Yeah.
And then you usually take a vacation.
We do.
We
have 2 or 3 vacations through winter. Of course, winter is a vacation to a degree outside of snow.
This isn't giving you the excuse to go home and ignore your wife and kids.
Not at all.
That's not at all what we're saying.
Counterbalance means you run hard doing one thing, and then you run back to something else and doing something else at a 10. I have business days. I'm working, I'm crushing it. Then there's date night days and wife time and spouse time.
It's like spinning plates. You can't physically spin 6 plates at the same time. You have one hand.
You have to slap.
Each one gets a couple slaps, and then you're on to the next one.
Run to the next one, slap. I have not found anybody who has 6 arms and can slap 6 plates. Mm-hmm. Well, build a system and build a team that slaps the plates for Yeah.
This is my plate slapping system.
Yeah, that's my. That's the gurus. That's the gurus on Instagram and YouTube. Somebody right now is fist pumping the air, finally somebody's saying it. Those are all the people that are selling you a dream that buy my system to fix your problems. All you're doing is fixing the financial problem of the guy selling you the course, who's got a crappy marriage. But I digress. You know what I mean?
He's got a gambling problem.
Yeah, dude, can we just be honest? This is unfiltered podcast. Maybe we're just getting more raw as we continue. I feel like the podcast has been pretty authentic, unfiltered, way more unfiltered than every. The bigger it gets, the quote unquote more money we just make in life, the less I care what people think. And I just found that there's a correlation between finding that successful people think different than how I thought 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago. Right? And it's not about how much money you make. It's about the thought process that so many people have that allows them to not only have a successful life, but of course make more income. Right? That is a direct correlation. So anyway, guys, man, I get sweaty talking about this stuff because I'm like, stop looking for average. Why do you want a balanced life? And I get what you're saying, but think about what you're saying when you say stuff like that. What are you seeking comfort for? The only people, Liz, that have a balanced life, that are totally comfortable, that have nothing going on and no problems, they're dead. Okay. Otherwise, you're probably going to have a life full of chaos to a degree. And the idea is to minimize some of those chaoses, maximize your highs, minimize your lows, right? And have an adventure. Stop trying to put life in a box. Mm-hmm. Life is an adventure meant to be lived. And you're busy all day thinking about how to control it. That is the funniest thing on the planet. It happens every single day, and I go, boy, that's funny. We didn't expect that one. Didn't expect this. Good, bad, or ugly.
It's funny that you get more and more numb to it. Bigger and bigger things keep
Nothing surprising.
Oh, okay.
We just go, oh, that's interesting. Let's figure. I think the COVID year was the wildest example with LAL.
Yeah, once your rubber band gets stretched, it doesn't go back to the same.
Nothing has been a shock the last 3 years. I've been that's a first. There's new things like that happen all the time. I go, that's different. That's new. Never seen that before.
Pivot.
we pivot. You climb. You go under the wires. You go over the fence. You go under the fence. You blow up the fence.
And it is so fun. It is so fun when you are on like this type of a journey together.
Momentum.
The momentum. And like,
you're riding the horse going 60 miles an hour.
You know, you're in it together. And the only people who get hurt, you know, on a roller coaster are the people who get off.
Yeah.
And if you just let the ride be fun, like it's supposed to, it is so good.
People keep trying to put life in a box. I just don't get it. Like, you will not control the world around you. You have to learn to adapt to it. Change is going to be inevitable, right? Like, and by the way, I'm a recovering perfectionist, a recovering control freak, a recovering melancholy, it's got to be a system, a detail, a number, a formula. YouTube's a formula. Podcasting is a formula. Lawn care is a formula. Your marriage, there's certain things you can do as a formula. And you know what I've had to do? Chill out. There's still variables that you can never control, which takes your formula and
you know what else? You know what does it really, really well?
What's that?
Kids.
Dude, 1,000%. I don't care. Dude, that's a great example because Adam and Sarah, my brother and sister-in-law, they just had a kid. They read all the books on parenting, all the books on feeding, all the books on sleeping, all the books. So did we. Mm-hmm. So did you listening in.
We thought we had it figured out. We knew we didn't have it all figured out, but there were some things that we were like, no, this is of course how we're going to do it.
Dude, we know what to do. We touch base with them. They're blasted. Like, they have no clue. They're screwed. They're drowning. We're bringing them food, just loving on them, and they're doing okay. They're holding it together.
I feel like they're doing better than we did.
Potential. Well, we told them a lot of
what not to do.
Hey, we know you already think you know, but here's some things that maybe you haven't thought about, right? Because we poured in a couple times with that, and probably 50 conversations to be honest. Like over the last year.
We're always like really like.
Hey, nobody told us.
We're like, you know, I don't know if I should say anything. And they're like, no, say something. Like, what do I do?
Yes.
Because we don't ever want to be those people with like unsolicited advice because that's just the worst.
No. We don't want to do that.
And you're like, I get it. I suck.
Yeah. But it's funny. Like, they had the plan, and the plan, it got exploded with TNT the day that little baby came out. Because it's like, you're like, and it's just the whole, I say that on the podcast all the time. Remember your training and you will make it home alive. And so it's just like, I'm telling you guys the same thing. And people are like, Fullerton, what do you know? I'm like, a little bit about a couple things lately. Like, I'm learning, I'm pouring it out there. I'm giving it to you guys. We're in the middle. I've said this 100 times on podcasts. We're in the middle. We're not the beginning guys. We're not the finished guys. I'm not Andy Frisella and Grant Cardone or Dave Ramsey or pick your guru, pick your guy. We're in the middle. We're on the come up. I want to be richer. I want to be more influential. I want to continuously be happier. Of course, I would like to be more fitter, right? I would like to have a better relationship with my wife. Of course. I mean, those are my priorities. It's God, family, business, right? It's not business, family, God, right? It's God, family, business. I'm always trying to pursue that. And I'm constantly working at that. But I'm trying to give you guys a lifeline out there that maybe you guys are on the same journey together. Maybe you guys, I'm your best form of access of info, right? Pray for you. Just kidding. But I'm pouring it out as fast as I get it in from everybody that I'm learning from and just being observant, man. We don't have multi-million-dollar gurus in my back pocket, okay? We've got a bunch of great people. We've got a couple great people that I do get the access to, and I'm really blessed for that.
That is not how things started.
But that's not how any of this started.
We were in the desert.
We were in the desert, but we're just, you know what got us out of the desert? Great people. But number two, being observant to that great advice. Mm-hmm. And of course, applying it. But man, just being observant. These are some things I've just realized this morning. I was so fired up to share with you. And
you were. It was really funny how you like.
I was getting so mad.
What the heck?
But then, of course, like we got little Peanut, so you can't yell.
We realized, like, Emmy may not understand. She's understanding more and more of what we're saying, but like how we say things is a really big deal right now.
Can trigger her to cry.
And like
we don't even fight. We just get worked up.
We just have like we talk like this, like how we're talking on this podcast, like loud and like
all
we're passionate. And we've realized we can't really do that.
No.
With a baby.
No, it does not work with kids. If you got a quick kid tip, if you got a newborn baby, they don't know what you're saying or that you're excited about the Macy's Day Parade.
Like what you're talking about is like good.
The Rockettes could be on TV and you're like, oh my God, I love it. And she starts crying because she thinks you're sad or yelling. And so it's wild. So that's why we're in a secluded room here. And Grandma's over running defense for us. But anyway, that's what I got for today's podcast. Just something to think about. Maybe you guys hit replay. Maybe the first, 2/3 of this can fire you guys up and give you some perspective on life. But let's just win. Point to the mark. Keep winning. We're going to make 2023 our best year ever. We are burning the boats, dude. I'm telling you, let me take it back. I'm not just telling you. I will prove it. I will show it. We've already been doing the work. I will continue to earn your guys' respect and love because I love and respect you guys. And same thing with you, Liz. Like, It is going to be 100% our best year, not because we're saying it, because we're doing it. We are doing it. We're so in the thick of it, of putting work in on so many different things. It's not even funny. From our business to our marriage to our family. I don't know how we could be executing better, but I'm still going to pursue and figure that out because you deserve the best. All right, that's all I got.
You're going to make me cry.
No, don't cry right now. You're emotional. So.
I'm hormonal.
Pregnant woman. Pregnant woman.
Don't do that to me.
All right, so there you go. We're going to come out of here and
my mom's going to be like, what?
She's like, what'd you guys talk about for 40 minutes? Don't worry about it. Just suck off the federal land to take your payroll check. All right, that's what I got. All right, over now. We appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Have a great rest of the day, and look forward to catching up with you guys here on the next one.
Bye.
Lawns, landscaping, and outdoor awesomeness, that's what your business does best. Managing your vehicles and optimizing efficiency with the latest technology is what we do best. GPS Track It provides a 24/7 view of where your company vehicles are and how efficiently they're operating, saving you time and money. With more than 12,000 customers, GPS Track It has delivered peace of mind for lawn and landscaping companies for 20 years. Ready to protect your vehicles and save money? Talk with one of our fleet advisors. There's no pressure, no hassles. Call 833-385-0252 or visit gpstrackit.com/BrianLM to learn more. Those details are in the show notes. GPS Track It.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.